Hello, good evening, or afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. Welcome to National Treasures Interviews, the video interview series of the acclaimed, in my own mind, podcast series National Treasures, where Laura Lexx, the nice lady there, and me, Will Duggan, the nice boy here, go on nice days out.
It is actually acclaimed, Will. Do you know how many good reviews we've got now on our podcast?
Right, me, you, my mum, my dad, your mum, your
No,
dad,
more
your
than that.
husband.
We've got like 50, which I know for some podcasts would be, but we've done really well.
If you'd let me finish, I was going to guess, finished in my head now, about 50?
Yeah.
Nice. Where we interview people, because obviously having a nice day out somewhere is a little bit harder these days because of reasons. So we brought Nice Days to you. We are the online, free to access, non-acclaimed, non-accredited TED Talk. Welcome, Laura.
Yes, and I'm especially excited today because today we are talking about a place that's very close to my heart, the big city, the city up the road from my birthplace and place of my teenage years. We're going to Bristol today, but we're not going to Cribbs Causeway, and we're not going to any of the places that actually we're going to a place that I have spent quite a lot of time at, but mainly because there was a Jongleurs gig there.
Yes, there was.
The less said about that gig, the better. Now, I love Bristol and I love the water at Bristol, but that gig is best 6 feet under. And to tell us all about Bristol.
What an intro!
I know,
Great city, some shit, some bad bits.
I think I'm actually better at this when I am drunk. I'm having a don't drink during the week at the moment because we mentioned a few videos ago, we're having a tough time here at National Treasures at the moment. And so I was like, do you know what? Wine doesn't help my mood stay afloat. So I've cut it out on the weeknights, but I think I'm actually better. Will disagrees. Anyway, so to tell us all about...
I'm drinking Morello cherry juice.
Are you?
That's what's getting me through. Morello cherry juice, carbonated.
That's a bit fancy, isn't it?
80p a litre, no.
Oh. What's the difference between a Morello cherry and a cherry?
I think it's like for wankers.
Oh, well done for being a wanker. Now, to tell us all about being a wanker, no, she's not a wanker. She's just knowledgeable about Bristol. We've got the wonderful Kathryn Davis, who is head of tourism at Visit Bristol. Hello, Kathryn.
Oh,
hi. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's my absolute pleasure.
So I assume you live in Bristol.
I do live in Bristol. I've been living here for, I keep saying it's not long since I've moved back, but I'm trying to think now. Oh my God, I moved back here in 95.
Well, that's long, yeah.
It is long.
26 years?
That's the year Jumanji came out.
Was that what made you move? Did you see Jumanji and you were like, this is so good, I'm going back?
It inspired me to move back, yeah.
So you said back. Are you from Bristol originally?
Yeah, I grew up in sort of Kingswood, the area, so halfway between Bristol and Bath. And
nice.
Ran away to London and then came back again for 6 months, 26 years ago.
And yeah, stayed forever. I'm a Taunton girl, see, from just outside Taunton. So Bristol was always like Exeter existed, but you'd get there and go, I thought this was a city, there's nothing here. Whereas Bristol was like, when you wanted a big day out, you went up to Bristol.
Yeah, you wanted a big day out in the 80s. You went to Bristol ice skating.
Yes, yeah. Oh my goodness, I remember that ice skating rink so well. Oh, I have such amazing memories of Bristol, like going to the Hippodrome and seeing shows. And then sadder memories. My grandma was in the oncology ward at Bristol, and I'm an ambassador, I think.
Come on, mate.
Well, it's just like all the stuff happened in Bristol, as a kid. But we're not talking the whole of Bristol. We're talking specifically Bristol Harbour side. What is it that draws you to Bristol Harbour side?
I like the harbour side because it's really nice just to walk around. It's peaceful. You're by the water. Something therapeutic about being by the water, I think. And it's got some cracking pubs and places to eat, nice museums, just an all-round lovely place to be.
Yeah. Hard agree from me on that. I totally agree that there's something really nice about the water. And I think that's what's quite nice about Bristol is that that sort of harboury dockside city feeling has been incorporated into quite a lot of the city. So like in that main thorough bit where the fountains all go whizzy, that bit's great too.
It is. It's just feels quite European.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that there's something almost, I'm going to say to the eye of our Italian listeners, something Florency about the architecture of it. Like it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the architecture is just a bit of everything as well. That's what's nice about it, is this kind of because of a port that's been there for 1,000 years in some way, shape or form. It's just nice to see all these odd little buildings gather around each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
100%.
the harbour side, I mean, I'd say my headlines on what I know about Bristol Harbour side are the slave trade. That's it. So when was Bristol's harbour heyday?
I mean, the heyday was in sort of the 12th century.
Wow, that far back.
Sorry, 13th century, she should say, reading her notes. 13th century. At the time, it was second only to London.
Wow.
And there's a number of reasons why it was really successful. So it was on the West Coast. So it was really, it was really easy to trade. They were trading with Iceland. They were trading with Ireland. And then in the late 1490s, John Cabot sailed out to find a quick route to the spice trails and found North America instead. So it was a great being on the West Coast instead of trade. Also, because the harbour was inland, it meant it was really secure from pirates and weather activity. So its kind of geographic position helped it enormously. But then it kind of fell out of favour a little bit as ships got bigger. It became difficult because you've got this difficult navigation bit from the Bristol Channel into the city, which is also the second highest tide in the world.
So hang on, so 13th century, which is the 1200s.
Yeah.
This is a regular thing we have to sit and work out carefully on this show.
Hence the reason I said 12th century and not 1200s. Yeah.
Let's just call the 1200s the 12th century and be done with it. So what's happening that's after the Normans? Who's king then?
After which one?
I don't know, like around the 1200s. Power.
Henry the First, Stephen the First.
I don't know.
William the First, 1066.
Yeah.
William the Second, a bit later. Henry the First, then Stephen the First, then Henry the Second, then Richard the First, then John the First. So it's one of those.
Okay, so it's medieval-y times.
Yes, the 1200s.
Okay, cool.
I'm nodding. That's not very helpful on a podcast, is it?
Oh, that's all right. No, it's video.
For the listener, Kathryn is nodding.
All
right. So, and then it sort of fell out of favour because
ships got bigger.
Yes.
Ships got bigger. Obviously, the tide was, you had to navigate this gorge to get into the harbour. And at that point, Liverpool started to take over. So Liverpool started to take over. But I mean, the docks remained here operational until the mid-70s.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you've still got cranes down there now. And the cranes on the harbour are quite special. Because you can, in normal times, you can go on and be a crane driver for the day.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So it's a cool experience. They have been known to dance to music.
Cranes.
And yep. And if you walk past them, they've got some audio that's activated by people walk past, and it's like the ladies from Gogglebox. You have the cranes having a little chat with each other, which is quite brilliant.
Blackbeard was from Bristol, wasn't he?
He was Edward Teach.
Ooh. How did he get into pirating? Was he in the military or a trader? What's his story?
I think he was a merchant. So, and I think that, at some points there was a bit of a fine line between who was a pirate and who was a merchant. But he was born in 1680, was going out to the American colonies. His ship was called the Queen Anne's Revenge, and he was massive. I mean, for that time, he was sort of over 6 foot. He used to put supposedly little fireworks in his beard to make himself more scary.
I do that.
He was a great character.
Yeah. Will, can you even imagine being over 6 foot tall?
Yeah, to spend a lot of my time doing that. and excuse me, Kathryn, when I grind an axe, height jokes from you.
Yeah.
There are roller coasters for the under 11s that you would have an issue getting on. So I don't want to. How dare you?
Yeah,
Sorry,
but I'm
Kathryn.
cute as a button, so I don't care.
I've always said it. I'm just short for my height.
But you are adorably large in personality.
Nice.
Did they build ships at Bristol?
Yeah, they did. Ships were built here again until the mid-70s.
What's the most famous ship that was built there?
Well, I think you've got the SS Great Britain, which was built in Bristol and then was too big to get out of the harbour, which is quite funny. Well, not funny, it's pretty tragic.
Oh no, it's very.
That's funny.
And then the Matthew, the replica was built here and sailed off in 97. This tiny little wooden ship that recreated John Cabot's journey to Newfoundland. But there's a ship called the Miranda Guinness, which was basically, that's what it did. It was commissioned by Guinness and it transported booze around, and that was 76. And there's a little model of it. If you go into the Guinness factory in Dublin, there's a little model of it. Did you go and see the little model of the Miranda Guinness ship?
Well, here's the thing.
This is going to be a story where Will gets so drunk he can't do anything.
I had mumps.
I wasn't expecting that.
I had mumps, and it was touch and go as to whether we could go to Dublin. I was no longer infectious, but I was unwell. And I remember none of it apart from an Irishman saying, Guinness is actually red if you look really closely, and then having a pint of Guinness. So that's the truth. But watch this for an edit point. Yes. And that's how it'll be in the video.
So John Cabot, I know Bristol relatively well, so his name crops up all over the place. You've got Cabot Circus, isn't it? What's his story then? Is he like a local landowner?
He is Italian. His name is Giovanni Caboto, and he set sail. Well, he was got a commission from the king, I think, and went off to discover. I said these spice routes from Bristol. Went off on his ship, the Matthew, and was reputedly the first European to set foot on mainland North America, because that was in 1497, because Columbus only got far as the islands. So so Cabot set foot on what is now Newfoundland.
Now, are you making a political point there, claiming that the Vikings are liars?
First recorded.
Now, the harbour, the modern-ish one, built by Brunel.
The lock gates were designed by Brunel.
The lock gates were designed by Brunel. That's what. So, obviously, he pops up all over in Bristol, doesn't he, Brunel? Brunel and Banksy. What is your favourite, not including the lock gate, of Brunel's Bristolian achievements?
My very favourite Brunel achievement is the SS Great Britain, for a number of reasons, not least because I got married on it.
Oh, lovely.
So that's quite cute. But I went there on a school trip when I was teeny tiny, and so I've been going there for a long time, probably. And it's just, its story is amazing. The fact that it came back and is in the dock that it was built in, and what they've done with it is just brilliant. You go on and you've got these little scenes and recreations and smells and sounds, as well as the museum next to it. And now it's got the Brunel Museum, being Brunel next door. So you can literally go inside Brunel's head. So that's my favourite.
That's cool.
Like being John Malkovich. And a great answer as well.
Being It's Some Bad Kingdom Brunel doesn't quite have the same easy being John Malkovich, does it? What's the science museum that's down there? I'm trying to think. My mum works in a school in Somerset, and they're always taking their kids on a day trip to...
We the Curious. It used to be called at Bristol, but it was rebranded. Yeah, when they can reopen, they've had the whole of the ground floor done. So it's going to be a surprise. It's going to be really exciting.
what kind of is sciencey, isn't it? Is it spacey sciencey or lots of things?
It's lots. You've got spacey science. You've got body science, the science of animation and drawing, little mini tornado. It's changed on and off over the year. When my kids were little, we used to have a membership. So we knew every piece of equipment inside out and back to front. So it's just lovely. It's just such a lovely, warm, friendly place to be. And it's a good way to get kids to learn by, without them realizing they're learning stuff.
Yeah. Has Bristol got a connection with animation in some way? Are there studios in Bristol?
Just a big one. Aardman Animations.
Yeah, Aardman.
Oh, how did I not know that? That's
Lovely
fun.
bit of false humility there, Kath. Yeah, just a big
Yeah,
one.
just a big one.
Aardman.
Just a big one.
I don't know if you've heard of plasticine.
Which was invented in Bath. There you go.
Was it?
Yeah, so that's
Do you know,
the best bit.
This is why I love this show, because you're just like bloop, 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 fact.
That should be the tagline for this series. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Fact.
So plasticine was invented in Bath. Ow,
Yeah.
my finger's stuck in my hair.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
it's
What? I love Bath. See, Bath is like my heart city. I had my honeymoon in Bath and I love it. I think it's the most beautiful city, building for building. I think it's just beautiful. And one day I'm going to retire there and open up a shop that sells useless crap.
My friend Liam went to university at Bath Spa. I had a fight with a man in Revolution. Also, lovely comedian Sunil Patel is from Bath.
Is he? I didn't
I've
know
run out of
that.
Bath facts now.
Oh,
The
I love
comedian's
Bath
there.
so much. It's so great. But plasticine, what were they trying? This feels like they were trying to invent something else and they accidentally got
what?
plasticine.
I've got no idea.
Oh, but it was.
I've got absolutely no. But it was made in Bathampton, which has got more nice pubs. So there you go.
In your defence, Kathryn, no one should expect you to know the invention process of plasticine.
But I'm going to have to go and look it up now.
Yes, please.
Do you know what? Let's call an edit point. I'll Google it now. Invented by William Harbut. In 1897, he wanted a non-drying clay for sculpture. So it was invented on purpose so that he could mold a sculpture, figure out where it was going, and then buy some marble or whatever. There you go.
Say not to make Oscar-winning animation.
But what is? What is?
Hello! It's a good interruption today because it's less beggy, more thank you. We have got 4 new patrons.
Four. We come to you today, not cap in hand begging, but yes, as Laura says, cap in hand, throwing, celebrating. We've graduated from having less patrons school.
So we'd like to say a big thank you to Claire, Artworld, Sarah and Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you. They have now joined the illustrious Illuminati, and why not, of people who will be getting years and years and many other bonuses. What are the bonuses are they getting, Laura?
They're getting signed photos, they're getting badges, they're getting a handwritten letter from me welcoming them. Even you didn't know that existed, Will.
I did know that existed. I sent you a stack of photographs and said, this is your workload. And I just prance around. But thank you very much, new patrons. We're now very close to our goal for weekly episodes, which is very exciting. I've got nothing really more to add. Anything to add?
No, back to us, interviewing brilliantly.
What's the most popular attraction at the Harbourside now? What gets the most footfall?
Well, we talked about SS Great Britain, which is obviously a biggie, and particularly for international people coming to see it. But M-Shed, so that's the museum. It's kind of like the Museum of the Story of Bristol.
Okay.
The one with the cranes outside has exhibitions that come and go on its top floor, and some brilliant ones as well. There was one a few years ago about Bristol music. Wildlife Photography of the Year is always there. They were due to have a graffiti art exhibition last year, which I think is coming back for the summer. but it's just full of stories and weird and wonderful things. Because Bristol's full of weird and wonderful things, and it's nice to see it replicated there. And like I said, the stories of the people as well.
Speaking of people, is there a Bristolian that you wish got more press, like, you know, a sort of slightly overlooked or underappreciated Bristolian from history?
Other than Bananarama?
Well, if that's
I
your
think
answer, I
they're
love
quite well
it.
known.
Quite
But are they
known,
loved
not
as
from
much
Bristol.
as they should be, William?
Yes, this is the question. There is a Nobel Prize winner for physics called Paul Dirac, who did amazing things and was the sort of the greatest physicist of his time. So it's not particularly fun, but but you know he was a contemporary of Einstein. So not many people, I guess, would know about him. But the interesting thing is he was at the same primary school at the same time as Cary Grant. How amazing is that you get this Nobel Prize winning physicist and a Hollywood legend at the same primary school?
State school?
It was in Ashley Down, and it was called was it Ashley Down School? Sefton Park School.
That sounds fancy, doesn't it?
Let's say it's Sefton Park's in Liverpool, isn't it?
The Sefton Park Road. Paul Dirac lived around Sefton Park. The school, Bishop Road School. There were schools in Bishop Road. I'm not sure what it was called at the time, but they grew up in the same area at the same time.
A great poster then for that school.
Yeah,
I think so.
But if you're going to be remembered, you want a name that rhymes with itself, like Einstein, easy to remember. Dirac, bit harder.
It is. I'll give you that. But yeah, there's some great there's some great people who are a bit bizarre that have come from Bristol. Colin Pillinger, who did the Mars rover thing. Do you remember the guy who did?
Well, no, because his name doesn't rhyme with itself. So how...
That's what it is.
That's what they say, isn't it? If you're going to be famous, that's why everyone's names. Give two more examples, Laura, of people whose names rhyme that are famous.
Jack Chirac.
But
and Edward Woodward.
Bollocks.
I win, Wuggan Duggan. No.
So,
I think our interviews would be a lot smoother if we weren't competing with each other through the whole thing.
I was thinking, do I have to hold up scorecards?
Let's do the quiz.
Are you ready?
You've got a quiz for us. Yes, please.
I have got a quiz for you. Right. Where do we get the phrase from, and why is it in existence? Ship shape and Bristol fashion.
Oh, I know something. Is it a way of keeping a... I don't know.
Was that too hard? Was that too obscure?
No, because we'll have a guess. Ship shape and Bristol.
Have you given us a clue in something we've talked
about? A bit
about?
of one, yes. I've tried to relate.
Is it a way of tidying up a ship? There was like a particularly Bristolian way of storing things.
Oh, you're very close. Very close. In fact, yeah.
Is ship shape in Bristol fashion meaning that is it because that once in Bristol there was a ship that couldn't get out of the harbour, so a correct ship would now be ship shape, not a bit bigger than ship shape.
Yeah.
A bit bigger than ship shape.
No, I reckon it was like a sail storage or something like that, or like the way you tidied up your ropes. There was a Bristol way to do it or something.
You're quite close, Laura. It was the fact that because the tide was so high and went up and down, if you got landed on the mud, which they did, if things weren't tied down properly, they would just fall off because the ship would end up in the mud and just tip to one side. So ship shape and Bristol fashion means that everything's tied up neatly, tidily, and won't slip out.
Ah.
Not quite what Laura said. No points.
Pretty much close, though. That is a point for Laura.
Question 2, please, Kathryn. Thank you so much.
Question 2. Obviously, there's a number of rivers around the city, And so it gets difficult to cross. So there's a lot of bridges that you can cross by foot. How many bridges are there that you can cross by foot around Bristol?
I thought you were going to ask me to name the rivers, and I know them both.
Oh, sorry.
Do it anyway, Will, and I'll give you half a point.
Avon and Froome. There are 408 bridges in Bristol.
No.
This
is just in the centre that you can cross.
Oh, no. Just in the centre?
Yeah, yeah, in the centre that you can cross by foot, just around
24.
the harbour. More than 24, less than 800.
799.
87.
306.
No, much lower.
61.
Lower.
38.
25.
Higher.
This is not the interview. This
41.
Is 44.
Lower.
43.
45.
42.
Will got it, 45.
Ah, damn it.
Will, and the half point for the rivers.
Damn.
Your hubris has come to defeat you, Laura. You shouldn't have been a prick.
Right then, next one. What does the word Bristol mean?
Ooh.
In what language?
In English.
Oh, it means...
in Old English.
Oh. City to the southwest.
Priest hole.
It has connections with other questions that we have just been trying to guess.
Ooh.
Bridge.
Bridge toll. Bridges toll.
Nearly.
Bridges.
Bridgetown. Bridgerton.
Bridges.
How cool would that be? What a connection back. Place of the bridge.
Well, I said bridges first. Can I have that point?
Yeah, I think if you review the footage, I said bridges first, you lying scum.
But I've got the marker pen.
Right. Do we need another question?
Yes, please.
No, we'll just leave it there. I have one.
Right. Last question.
Okay.
It's another guess one. So there is one route that you can take where you can cross these 45 bridges without doubling back on them. So there's an ex-professor at Bristol University worked out a way that you could walk all around the harbour and only cross each footbridge once. How many miles would that walk be?
Ooh. 17.
A little bit more.
18.
Are we just going to keep going one up at a time?
21.
More than 21, but not much more.
23.
24.
Bit more than that.
27.
27.
28.
Laura's got it.
Yes! Ah, yes! Even without my cheaty last point, I still won. 28's my lucky number. Did you know that?
This has been a travesty.
That's cool though. 28 miles.
You can do 20. You can download. You can join the Facebook group. You can download the trail map. But yeah, it means you can walk around the harbour and you only cross each bridge once.
That's cool. What's the
he
trail
professor
called?
of, this guy?
His name was Thilo Gross, and he was obviously a professor of crossing bridges.
Tell you what, Thilo, well, get a job. You've got kids to teach. You've got wisdom to impart. I mean, well done on your route, but that's a waste of a day, Thilo.
That's a man
Professor
trying to get
Thilo.
his steps in on his Fitbit.
I think that's
isn't it?
it's a retired professor with now needs something to do, isn't it?
Do us the good grace and learn golf, or shuffle off this mortal coil.
William, he's done us a favour. What's the trail called? How do people find it?
It's called the Bristol Bridge Challenge.
Nice.
Or Bristol
okay.
Bridges Challenge, yeah.
Let's
Thilo's
do
folly.
that one year, Will.
Yes, let's definitely do that.
You could do it as a pub crawl, but you might not get all 28 miles in.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I don't know if I've got the constitution for that much drinking. I'm a lightweight. And Will's
Obviously,
very
Kathryn.
short, so can't fit much beer in.
People know of Bristol. Bristol's a major city. But let's pretend someone was a fool and didn't know of Bristol. What would you use to, what reference points? Where might people know Bristol from?
Where might Bristol think? They may know it from such literary greats as Blackbeard. Not Blackbeard. Oh, Treasure Island. My goodness. Sorry. They might know it from such literary greats as Treasure Island and Robinson Crusoe. So
That's
there's
not in Bristol.
some. This is the best story. I should have used this one. So Robinson Crusoe was inspired by Daniel Defoe overhearing a conversation outside what is now the Land of the Trow by Captain Woodes Rogers, who was stranded on a desert island. And it's supposed to be as a result of him overhearing this conversation and chatting to this guy that he was inspired then to write Robinson Crusoe.
That's
It's
so
based on a true
cool.
story.
Good fact.
Good
That's a good fact.
knowledge.
So yeah,
Yes,
so
Bristol.
Treasure Island is features Pirate Bristol and people like Long John Silver, who was a cook in a pub, and on screen, Bristol's on loads and loads and loads of films and TV programs recently. So Sherlock, if you get Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock, filmed around Bristol. Only Fools and Horses was filmed in Bristol. Most recently, things like Skins was filmed here, which is quite good fun to go back and watch that. We've just coming up, we'll have The Pursuit of Love, is filmed here, a new costume drama. We had The Pale Horse about this time last year, the Agatha Christie was all filmed here. We've got Bottle Yard Studios now, and so you get productions that are based there and do loads of work, but they do lots of filming outside. So there's all sorts of things. War of the Worlds, loads of Doctor Who was filmed here. So a bit of sci-fi. Hellboy 3.
Oh, well, that's the clincher. Now you've
Do
got
you know
to
one
go.
of Bros is in Hellboy 2?
Which one? Is it Luke? I just mean Luke, with my great Bros knowledge.
Yeah, it was Luke. Yeah, not Matt.
Yeah, he's the
nothing
actor. Yeah,
about
so
Hellboy or Bros.
but Bristol's a UNESCO City of Film.
Oh wow! So very good then for film buffs, history buffs, pub buffs, food buffs,
Bridge
magic
buffs.
bridge buffs, walk buffs, retired. Basically, there's something for everyone in Bristol.
There is.
Thank you. There is.
If I had any animation skills, I'd make Bristol just appear with my finger there.
And when people are planning their visit, where do they go online to find you for touristy information?
So the best place to start your search is at visitbristol.co.uk, and you can find lots of inspiration. You can find lots about films that were made here and books that were set here, as well as where to stay, where to eat. And at the moment, there's loads of stuff on virtual visits, takeaways, deliveries, and a particular Valentine's slant at the moment, because we're coming up to Valentine's Day. But yeah, lots of stuff to inspire you to visit in the future. And when you can visit, lots of ways to book.
Yay!
Fantastic.
We can't wait. And is it at Visit Bristol on social medias and things like that?
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Visit Bristol, and you'll get one of my friendly colleagues who will post beautiful pictures and do silly little hints on things to do and links to blogs. They're a lovely bunch, so yeah, do engage them in conversation.
Thank you
is
so much,
wonderful. Thank you so
Kathryn
much.
Davis. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Hooray! Brilliant, Duggan. I'm homesick now to a million degrees. I want to go back to the West Country.
Okay. I'll look into that.
Can we please put some West Country? Well, we're going to Stonehenge, I think, aren't we, in series 2?
We're going to Stonehenge in series 2. We're going to, and then I'll just put in there that silence once we've decided.
That's where we're going. Hooray. Anyway, so thank you very much for joining us on another National Treasures video. Another National Treasures video. William Duggan, where can people get in contact with us?
And well done for remembering this time, Laura. People can either send us an email to nationaltreasurespodcast@gmail.com. They can tweet us at treasurespod. They can Instagram us at treasurespod. And now, if you like what we do and want this wall behind me to stop being virtual and start being real, you can donate to our Patreon.
Please, can you actually build a wall through the middle of your flat? Yes.
No, I rent.
Go to our Patreon page where we have set up lots of rewards that you can get for helping us to make content. That would be great. But until next time, thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Goodbye.